everybody. What is up? It is Colin, and I'm joined by my wonderful friend, Alan. What's up, Alan? How's it going, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, except for everybody in the world knows we've been having technological problems today.
Yeah, StreamYard's been kind of difficult.
It sure has, but that's okay. We move forward. What else can you do, except for just keep moving forward? But yeah, everybody, welcome into the American Spurs Soccer Show. This is going to be a new thing. This is the first episode, so everybody that's here, you're in for a treat. Just getting some Spurs perspective from us North Americans. Yeah, Alan, I'm really glad that we're doing this, man. How's your Saturday going? Early for you?
Yeah, no, but good so far. I think the sun is already shining out here, and looking forward to a happy Saturday.
Nice. You can't beat that, man. We've had some people in the comments that have been here for a long time. I feel bad for them. They were waiting for us at the beginning. Eltel Cockerell, Jose saying, "Come on, you Spurs Yanks." Appreciate that. We do. Jazz Fusion saying, "Everyone into the pool." Good stuff. Chris Peters let us know that the Spurs U18s won the North London Derby 3-2. So that's awesome.
Did.
That's sweet, man. Jazz Fusion says, "Be nice to actually see Spurs win anything at this point." Big up, Jazz. Glad to have you here, man. Peter K is in the house saying, "Hi, lads. What's up, Pete? Hope you're doing well." Chris Peters is saying, "Afternoon, everyone in the chat. Big up, Colin Allen. And lovely sunny day in England. Wow, that's quite a rarity."
Really?
Yeah. Enjoy that, Chris. That's probably be cloudy in an hour, but yeah, enjoy it while you got it, man. But Alan, so Spurs, it's been a pretty tumultuous time lately in the land of Spurs.
It's been awful.
Yeah, you could say that for sure. So basically, the Chelsea result is as far back as I want to go. I don't want to go any further back. I don't want to talk about Arsenal or anything like that. So the Chelsea result, it hurt. It hurt me a lot. I really made a point to get my work done early to watch it. I was so excited. And I feel like the boys let me down. But I just wondered if you had any takeaways from that match. If there was anything that you noticed that you thought we did especially well, you thought we did poorly. Where was the problem, you think? Or where did it start? Yeah, just what are some feelings you have on the match?
Well, first, I could talk about specific players, and I'm actually going to start with the Chelsea player. Conor Gallagher, someone that whenever he's been mentioned as linked to us, and I know Postecoglou is interested in him, people tend to poo-poo him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, if anything, people should rethink that after the match we just had with him, where he was awesome. He was very impressive against us, and it makes it difficult when a player does very well against your team to have anything negative to say about them. And I hope maybe people will reevaluate what they think about him now that they've seen what he can do against us in the summer transfer window.
He was dictating play. I mean, he looked great. He looked exactly what we need.
Yep.
That's a really good point. A really good point, man. So Conor Gallagher hurt us. That was one of the players. But I feel like we were losing key battles all over the pitch. It didn't really look like, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, why can't I remember the young guy's name? But the guy that had it playing it right back. Why he was some teenager, you know what I mean? He's some
yes.
Academy. And
I know who you're talking about.
Sonny was up against him the entire match. And I just don't understand why we didn't see Sonny, attempt to take, that man on more, attempt to beat him down the line. But something that I've been talking about on some other shows is just that we don't really see that from Sonny much anymore. Is that something that you've noticed as well?
Yeah, Sonny got bossed. I don't know what's going on for him.
Yeah,
He I think he has lost a step. You know, he's is he 30 now? And
30,
I think
31, I think. But yeah, yeah,
he's lost a step, and he doesn't have those cool trick moves anymore. Um, and he's not physically aggressive. So he got bossed by someone that was more aggressive than he was. Um,
yeah.
and that,
Gilchrist is that guy's last name too. I had never
yeah,
heard of
yeah,
him even.
Gilchrist. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, I hadn't heard of him at all before that match. But you're right. He pocketed Sonny basically, more or less. I mean, there were a few
He
times in the
really did.
second half where Sonny did, attempt to take him on, did attempt to beat him. But I mean, I was just surprised that that wasn't a spot that we attempted to exploit from the get go. That was a surprising one for me. Um, we've got some more people in the chat, real quick. Scott M, saying, being his normal positive Scott self. Gotta love you, Scott. Unfortunately, it has been a very expected time for Spurs lately, Scott says. I don't know if I would agree with that completely, but we were always gonna have a transitional season. We I think, and tell me what you think about this, Alan. I think that we might have done ourselves a disservice by doing so well in those first 10 matches. I think that it got everybody's hopes up. I think it elevated people's expectations because before the season started, if you had told us we were going to be where we are right now, I wouldn't have been upset. You know?
Um, no, I think having expectations high is important. Um, te- the only thing is, I think everybody needs to temper it a bit with remembering that it's a rebuild season.
Yeah.
And going into it, I remember I was thinking, oh well, we have a new manager, we maybe a couple of games on the bounce, but this is probably going to be like a eighth place, kind of a similar season to the season before, where we're not going to get any European football, but that's okay because we're in a um we're
We're
in
seeing it go to work.
a
Yeah.
rebuild. But I think winning those 10 games was fantastic, and it felt good to have high expectations. I think the problem is we suffered all of those injuries mid-season.
Yeah. No,
What's that?
absolutely. Oh, sorry. So my camera is definitely
We
messing things up.
suffered mid-season, we suffered all of those injuries, and then uh now players coming back, it just seems like they're either tired, uh, frustrated, and what I think, and I've said it before, um, we're we're starting to see the wheat pull away from the chaff. So there are players that we now know and can pretty much identify who is not fitting in this Ange system. Um, I think we have players like Yves Basuma, who I love.
Oh man, I
I
was
thought he
so
was great
excited
at
to get him.
Brighton.
Yeah, yeah. I thought we
I
really
felt
pulled a
like he
rabbit out
got
of
a
a
raw
hat when we
deal
got
under
him.
Conte, and I was so thrilled when he got a chance under Postecoglou. I just don't think that he's the right player for Postecoglou. Um, uh, I see like people like
Oh, can you hear me okay right now, by the way? Alan, can you hear me, buddy?
yeah,
Okay,
I
sweet.
hear you.
Nice, nice. Yeah, the camera was a little experiment. It is not going to work today. But yeah. So you were talking about Basuma. I was so happy whenever we landed Basuma. I really thought that we had gotten a steal. What did we pay for him? Like 25 mil, something cheap. So yeah, I
Yep,
was so excited.
something less.
Yeah, I was so excited. But you're right. He just hasn't performed. I don't think he's the player for this system. Um, you were talking about Gallagher. Scott M says the Gallagher as a squad player would be good. Gallagher in our starting 11, not good enough, but we won't spend that kind of money to add to squad depth we need, says Scott. Again, Scott, I don't know. It's looking like a summer where there might be some money to spend, but we will see. Daniel E is in the house though, saying sell basically the whole squad other than 6. The rest are shite. And yeah, and then there's just some conversation going about that. Real quick, I just wanted to read this one. There may be 4 guys I would be sad to see go, and those are guys I think will leave anyways. VDV, Romero, Udogi, and Poro. Well, they're all on pretty long contracts, so I don't think they're going like tomorrow or anything. So that's a good thing. Um,
Yeah, hopefully we don't lose our whole back line.
yeah, no
Jeez.
kidding, no kidding. And then Sun deserves better than Spurs. So even though I don't want to see him go based on his quality, he should leave. I think he should go just because he's not. I think we could improve on that
Performing.
position. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah. That argument about like players deserving things. I mean, like you're physically you're in a squad every match where you have the ability to earn those things that you quote unquote deserve. So I don't, you know what I mean? I don't know how much I'm like, oh, players deserve better than Spurs. They're not really my style, but I get it. I get what you mean. We got Polio125, big up. Polio says we need a striker. We haven't had one since Kane left. Agreed.
Yep.
Agreed completely.
I was actually hearing this morning that potentially Richie is on the chopping block where they're willing to entertain bids for him if something were to come in that was interesting to them.
That is cool. I wonder though. Mm-hmm. I know that he's under contract as well, and if he doesn't want to go, he surely doesn't have to. So that's one thing. Right. I always hear people say, "Oh, sell this player." Unless we're going to buy out people's contracts sometimes, or pay them, pay their contract out. It's harder than you think to get rid of players that are under contract. But
yes.
So yeah.
Can I go back really quick to the Gallagher thing as a squad player?
Please do. Yeah.
I think right now he would fit into our starting 11. I mean, I don't know who would start over him. In our midfield, I'm preferably I want Eberechieze.
Oh yeah, he's phenomenal.
I think I always have him in my FIFA. I think he's a phenomenal player. He's value for money, and just makes stuff happen, and he can score goals. But I question whether Gallagher, I question that. I think he makes it into our starting 11, especially where we're at right now. I think he would make it into our starting 11. I think maybe if we progress, perhaps he becomes a squad player, kind of like a Højbjerg, right? Højbjerg used to start every game, and then he kind of slowly became a squad player to sub in because we got better players, or players we were hoping would be better. And I think maybe that's where Gallagher would end up. He would start because he's young. You got the English, the English tax,
True.
The homegrown kind of player. And he's physical, but he scored the other day. He scored a worldie from distance. Who was it, against Aston Villa? And he almost scored against us. He's an aggressive player, and he can make stuff happen. And I think that's what we're missing in the midfield. Our midfield is not that aggressive. If anything, they're absent. They're not doing a great job moving the ball upfield. We spend a ton of time on defense. And I just think we need players, if not Gallagher, we need players like Gallagher who are willing to be aggressive, potentially force a card if they have to, just to make stuff happen. Unfortunately, I think we play too much. What do you think about us playing in the back a lot? I find that it gives me a heart attack sometimes, the way like VDV will pass to Romero when you've got a couple of offensive guys coming at them, and they're just kind of playing back and forth.
And I don't know how much. So I mean, I never played soccer at like a particularly high level. Played in like high school, a tiny bit in college. But when as a kid, I mean, I started when I was 5, and the first thing that they ever taught us, I'm not sure how much this is just an American thing, is but don't pass across the face of your goal. So don't pass to somebody, where you have to cross, because that's just inviting pressure. It's suicidal. One thing though about how we play and about how Ange likes to play is he likes to have that press there, because then it means that there's going to be space to exploit up the pitch. So I think it's by design that we play in our own half so much. But yeah, it gives me a heart attack as well, especially passing to the keeper. God, I hate that. Like, don't pass to Vicario if you don't have to. That's it, you know what I mean?
No.
That's just asking him to do work that he shouldn't have to do. Yeah.
Well, I still have PTSD from Hugo Lloris, because when you pass back to Hugo Lloris, he didn't always do such a great job with the ball.
That's to put it lightly. Yeah, absolutely. And God loved Hugo, aside from, his little one incident, he never, did anything bad for the club, I don't think. And, was a great servant for the club, but yeah, not the keeper for this system. That's for sure. And I don't know. I mean, we're lucky. I think that we're lucky in a way that we've got Van de Ven in this system, because like you said, we play a dangerous game. And with this incredibly high line that we play, it often necessitates Van de Ven getting back and covering for either Romero, for whoever is playing at left back that match, and we're really lucky to have him. And we saw when he was out the damage that is incurred to us without having him on the pitch. So yeah, I about the playing in the back, or playing around in our half. I don't love it for sure, but I do see the point that that Ange is trying to get to. I do see that he's trying to pull off opposing players out of position, so that then it creates holes that we can exploit on the offensive side of things. But yeah,
the thing is what it's kind of I think we need fast players like VDV in the back. I think unfortunately Ange's system necessitates that, because the other team, the opposing team, is kind of, when they say found us out, you see them, they just kind of kick, they go deep. Someone, the goalie, the defense, they kind of just lob the ball all the way over onto our defensive side, and you see our guys chasing them back. And VDV, who is the fastest player I think in the Premier League, can just zoom to go get whatever needs and do what needs to be done. But we wind up depending on that. You depend on that speed. You have to depend on the speed of the fastest person in the league. And I don't know that that's sustainable.
No, definitely.
Are you going to find the second fastest person? Romero is not the fastest.
Not even
Oro
close.
is not the fastest.
Dragishin's not a fast guy either. That's something that I've noticed from his game, is he doesn't seem particularly quick either. Yeah.
Emerson's not super fast. Ben Davies isn't super fast. So I was watching the game, specifically watching VDV, and you can see whenever, because he's a beast, but he's not a beast in the air for some reason. And I don't know if he got hit in the head once. I remember I was playing soccer when I was a kid. I jumped in I went for a header, and I got like this. I have a little knot on my head, even to this day, all these years later. And I was a little shy to jump in the air again and try that. I don't know if he had something like that or what, but he's a little shy in the air, as opposed to Romero, who's super beastie in the air.
Right, and who's like 6 inches shorter too. I know what you mean. As our tallest guy, you would expect VDV to get on the end of more headers, both offensively and defensively, but you don't really see that. Real quick, I wanted to address this comment. Scott says that Son has 16 goals. How are we improving on that? That means bringing in 3 new frontline players, because if we bring in one guy to replace Son, he is still better than the 2 other guys that we keep up front. So I just want to say, a lot of the season, the Sun's been playing as a striker. I think that we need to get an entirely new striker for this system. Also, whenever Kane left, everyone said, oh, that's 30 goals a season gone because Kane's not here to score them anymore. Well, we're on track to score like the most goals that we've scored in a really long time in a Premier League campaign. So I don't necessarily buy that, if we get rid of Son, those 16 goals are gone. And also, like I said, we've been playing him as striker a lot. So when I say get a new left winger, I don't expect the left winger to contribute as many goals as Sonny has, mainly because Sonny hasn't been playing as a left winger or left forward for most of the season. He's been playing up top where he, of course, has more opportunities to score. But I don't know how you feel about that, Alan. But yeah, I just think it's
no.
Yeah, it's hard to judge.
I think, as you said, Son has been playing in the middle. He's been playing striker. He's out of position, and we've depended on that, and he's done a moderately good job. I don't think it's weird. His when he first was nominated and became captain, he was more passionate. I think he was a little more vocal. We were seeing him pop up on social media, and he was giving more interviews. All of a sudden, he's kind of, ever since kind of the mid-season, he's kind of pulled back from that, and you don't see him, talking on the field at all. I'm not that I'm a huge fan of passion merchants, but you
At
want
least
some of that.
some,
You need
yeah.
some, and he's not shown any. He kind of does what like Hugo Lloris does, which is almost nothing as captain. I never thought that Hugo, personally, I didn't think that Hugo Lloris was the right captain when he was here. He was just too quiet.
Yeah,
He
not
wasn't that
vocal enough.
commanding. And I
Wasn't leading from the back. Yeah, agreed.
and we're Americans. We kind of expect more passion out of things because we're passionate. And Sonny is kind of pulled back from that, and it's also affected his. I don't know if it's directly related, but his play has not been good. He didn't play well against Chelsea. He didn't play well against West Ham. He didn't play well against who did we lose to right before Chelsea? Arsenal. He didn't. Yeah, Arsenal.
Right.
So
he hasn't played well. He hasn't played well for a long time.
Yeah.
It's because he's really easy
And it
to mark.
worries
As
me.
a striker, he's really easy to mark. But you can't really use that excuse. I mean, against Chelsea, we played him on the left, and he was shut down that game too. I think if you put a physical defender on him, he's not great at dealing with that. And then playing through the middle, you've got to deal with both center backs. I just think it's easy for them to just glue a guy to Sonny and say, just be physical, make sure he feels you there. Don't let him have any joy. I just think he's easy to mark out of games, honestly. But real quick, Alan, I just wanted to say, Scott.
And also,
oh,
go ahead.
Sorry. Scott was just agreeing with you about how he thinks that Gallagher would walk into our team, but he said that he wants to look at the midfields of City, Liverpool, and Arsenal and match that, and Gallagher isn't at that level, in his opinion. But he also says,
I know, I agree with that.
I kind of do. I don't know. I feel like you can't. I don't know. I think basing players off what they are doing at one club.
You can't really look. Well, you're right. You're right. City, Liverpool, Arsenal, they're further along in their whatever. Arsenal, as we're seeing, is much further along, and Liverpool and Arsenal are Liverpool, and Man City are Liverpool and Man City,
right?
But we're nowhere near them yet. I mean, it's sometimes it's tough to admit, but it's better to admit. It's very cathartic. It's better to admit and then be realistic and move forward. And I think players like Gallagher, they may not be the players that we have once we've attained the level that we expect for our team, but I think he will connect the dots and get us there. And I think that's what he was saying here, what Scott's saying. And I would agree with that he's a player that will take us from this level to the next level, and then perhaps we improve on him then and he becomes a squad player. I could see that happening.
Yeah, I wouldn't be upset with that. And real quick, I saw Cosmic Sean in here. Today is Cosmic Sean's birthday. He's turning the big
Happy
4-1
birthday.
today. Yeah, man, the big 4-1. So you're officially old, buddy. Big up, Shawnee. And I will see you later today, my friend.
He's still young.
Yes.
Still young.
Yes, 40 is the new 30, they say, I think. But yeah, a comment I thought was interesting, and I guess I'll come to our next point, because we've been all over the place, but that's how I like it, to be honest. we saw Emerson at left back on Thursday. Did his performance warrant keeping him in that role, in your opinion?
No, but I don't see anyone else taking that role.
The
I was
only
actually, that was leads me to a question I was going to ask, but I'll ask it after.
Oh, I was
Do
gonna
you
say,
trust Dragoshin as a
yeah, basically just that. If VDV moves to left back, would you trust Dragoshin to be our starting center back with with
I have a very, well, maybe it's controversial. I was going to ask, how would you set up for Liverpool? So I guess this leads right to that. How
yeah, perfect.
I personally wouldn't put Dragoshin in the center. I think not to penalize Dragoshin, but it's to reward VDV. I think VDV deserves to be able to play where he's been playing and not
Shoehorned out
kind of
to
right,
yeah.
because I think he deserves it. If I were to set up the team, I would have VDV and Romero in the middle, have Emerson on the left because there
No
isn't
other
someone
option.
else really.
Yeah.
And I would have Dragoshin on the right. I would move Poro all the way up to the right wing as a striker. I think he is showing that in the last few games, his defensive ability has been lacking. Last game, especially, he was dog poop.
Yeah.
Against Chelsea. Really, he was. Oh, they were killing him. And he was, to be honest, he was dog poop. Did he play against? He did. He was dog poop against Arsenal.
Oh yeah.
I think, but offensively, the guy has a really good sense of where people are and where people should be. So, he knows how to kick the ball into the box very well. He's pretty quick. I think he should be given a chance to move up. I think, didn't Bale do that? Didn't he go from?
He was a left back, and then he moved up to left wing, and then kind of right wing, and then sort of wherever he wanted to be after a while. But yeah, man, yeah. So that's a good idea. I like that a lot, actually. And
then basically you'd have Bentancur, Lo Celso, and Kulu. That's who I'd have in the middle. Bentancur, Lo Celso, and Kulu. I wouldn't reward Maddison. I think Maddison needs to sit down and have a hard think.
I think Maddison's injured. So it wouldn't be the first time that Spurs have had players where they have an injury, right? That probably necessitates like a small operation, but then that would keep them out for a decently lengthy recovery period, and then usually when that happens, so this happened with like Kieran Trippier a couple years back. I'm trying to think. I know it's happened with more players than just him. Skip, I want to say, but anyway, we kind of asked them, hey, do you mind waiting until the summer, having your op? In the meantime, we'll give you cortisone injections or whatever. Anti-inflammatory stuff. We'll keep you okay to play. It just doesn't seem like he's at his full, at his level. I mean, it doesn't seem like he's playing with full capacity. I don't know. Do you see that at all, or do you think that he's just burnt out and tired?
I actually think Son is injured. That if I had to guess, I think Son is injured. Or James Maddison. I have a friend that loves Leicester City, and he told me that James Maddison, he predicted exactly what's happened. He said, because he said he did it at Leicester. He will be awesome in the beginning. He'll probably get injured mid-season, and then he will not be the same player when he comes back towards the end of the season. And I was like, no. And then he was doing awesome those 10 games, and we were like, wow.
And you were like, look, man, look at him now. You were wrong.
You were wrong. And then he got injured, and I'm like, okay, well, look, everybody gets injured. Once or twice in their career, it happens. And then he came back and he's been dog meat, and I'm like, oh, dang
Yeah.
it, he was right. So I think this is a troubling pattern that he has followed um, from his Leicester days, and I'm wondering if this is just how it's going to be, where we're going to need someone to, and
Kind of
maybe that's
rotate
it.
in and
Maybe
out
he's
with him.
just good for, yeah, exactly. Maybe he is just good for the first half of the season, and then he's kind of dog meat for the second half of the season. In which case, you need your Connor, you need your Lo Celso type player. If not Lo Celso, then a creative midfielder.
Correct. Yeah. No, absolutely. And I also think too that adjusting to a new system and then having a lengthy injury in the middle of that adjustment period, right? When you're flying high, playing well. I mean, of course you're not going to come back and immediately play as well as you had been. But yeah, the drop off has been significant for sure. I wanted to address a couple comments. Normally on these shows, I get all the comments in, but I haven't been able to today. I'm really sorry. Daniel was asking, I was talking about Kane and everyone saying, oh, there's 30 goals season gone. And but what we've made up the goals in other places. And he's asking, so are you saying that we don't miss Kane? Absolutely not. I mean, having Kane in this team would be great. I'm just saying that just because
I miss Kane.
a player scored goals and then is gone doesn't mean that those goals are gone as well. If that makes sense, other players will pick up the slack. Other
Yeah.
players will be in the position where he was when he was, scoring some of those goals. And so just because the player is gone doesn't mean that you're 30 goals a season worse off. Is all I'm trying to say, Daniel.
Totally. Yeah. He's my favorite player. Is Harry Kane.
He's wonderful. I have to admit that I haven't really watched a whole lot of him since he left. But yeah, I love him too. And I'm finally getting over it. I think my feelings were hurt a little bit when he left. I won't lie, which I know is embarrassing. I'm an adult man, but hey, honesty is the best policy. It hurt my feelings a little bit when he left. Jazz Fusion says Romero gone in the summer. What are you smoking, buddy? And
really
sounds like some of that stuff they got in California, Alan. I don't know, man.
The good stuff.
Yeah, hopefully he's not gone in the summer. That would be absolutely bizarre to me. Guys, we got Adrian Stroke in the house saying good afternoon, Colin, Alan, et al. I love his Latin that he sneaks in there. You're a good dude. You're a good dude, Adrian. Nice to have you.
Nice.
So Potato Stew saying better investment in our midfield during the summer would help our team's defense. 100%. Jazz Fusion says Sun's survival depends on whether or not Postecoglou ever intends to play Ange Ball again. Interesting. I might have to have you kind of elaborate on that, Jazz, if you don't mind. Mia is in the house. Big up Mia saying 41 is an old Colin. Watch yourself. You're in the UK real soon, remember? She's going to come get me, guys. No, I was just messing with Sean.
Not old.
Yeah. I was just messing with Sean, guys. Well, look at that. Jazz Fusion says it's his anniversary tomorrow. Big up, Jazz. Hope you guys have a wonderful dude. What number? Let us know what number in the chat if you don't mind. And then we got Leo here. Mile High Hotspur saying, yo. Hope everyone is well. Big up. Leo just got back from the UK. He got Daniel Levy to endorse his channel. I don't know if you've seen that short yet, Alan, but it's literally
but that's awesome.
He met Daniel Levy at like one of the tours, and Daniel Levy's like, "Yeah, subscribe to Mile High Hotspur." It's hilarious. I can't believe he did it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Is he a Levy in or a Levy out now?
Right, exactly. I don't think he was ever like. I don't want to speak for him. I can't say, but. We'll ask him, Leo, if you're still in the chat, buddy, are you Levy in or out? Especially after that solid he just did you. So what else we got in the chat that I've missed over? Pete says that VDV won't play left back, which is what you were saying too, Alan. You don't see it.
Yeah.
Scott,
I just don't think it's. Yeah, some of it is morale too, right? I have to think these are human beings who have feelings and whatnot, and especially at the highest level, I'm assuming they could have those hurt feelings. I don't want to upset VDV just so that we can fit Dragoshin in. I think Dragoshin, while he's still new to the team, should be willing to move around where is necessary. And I think if he'd want playtime, that's exactly what he should be doing, just wherever he can get it.
Definitely. I don't know, but so I don't know if VDV or Dragishin have the feet to play that left back role, that weird inverted left back, get involved in the midfield build up type of thing. And maybe I'm selling them both short. Maybe they're both more technical defenders than I'm giving them credit for. But I just noticed like VDV, whenever he runs, the touches he takes are pretty big, but he's got the speed that it doesn't really matter. You know, he's not he doesn't have the best touch on the ball that I've ever seen in my life, but neither does Ben Davis. He plays left back for us. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it's hard to say, but I just don't think I haven't been especially impressed with Dragishin from what I've seen. I know we've only seen a couple of appearances from him, sub appearances at that, but he just didn't. He just doesn't look. I don't know. Maybe he's trying too hard. Do you think that could possibly be it? You know, he's coming out. He only gets these little cameos, so he's trying too hard and maybe getting into his own head. I know that happens, you know.
I guess Postacoglu is kind of on the same page with you, because I guarantee if Postacoglu thought that Dragishin was up to the task, we'd be seeing more of him. And I think that maybe coming from Genoa and the jump up to the Premier League wasn't as easy as he thought it was going to be. And he was sold to us kind of like as an aerial dominant player and a real force, but I didn't see that when he was playing, and I'm wondering if he's struggling also in the Ange system, which is why we just haven't seen him.
Yeah, very, very possible. Very possible. We forget, there's so much of a difference between playing in a back three versus a back two. It's almost an entirely different position playing a center back in a back two versus back three. I know you're obviously a center back in both instances, but yeah, it's very different. And so that could absolutely be. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's funny. No. I was cutting you off. I'm sorry. It's funny that people now want a back three, which I kind of want a back three because I think we have the right. I think Dragishin, Romero, and VDV would be a great back three. But we had a back three under Conte, right? And everyone wanted a back four instead. And now we have the back four, and everyone's saying, let's go to a back three again. It is what it is,
Yeah, everybody wants what we're not doing.
Grass is always greener.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Everyone wants what we're not doing. But I think Dragishin in these final games needs an opportunity because I think it would be helpful to his confidence if that was lacking. Which I think with the amount of games he's been out, I know mine would feel lacking. So I'm hopeful maybe he can get some time, especially with both Udogie out and Ben Davies out, and Porro playing like poop. I think he should be given an opportunity to slot in somewhere.
Yeah, no, definitely. What do you think about Pete down here saying that he thinks that Romero could play the six? Would you want to see that ever? Would you be okay with that with a Dragishin Romero, or sorry, Dragishin VDV in the back, and then slightly ahead of them have a Romero? Could work. It's not exactly the way that Ange puts his teams together, I've noticed, but yeah, we see. I mean, out of our defenders, I think that Romero pushes up way more often. You know what I mean? You find him in the opposition half sometimes, playing nice defense splitting like through balls. So yeah, that could work.
No, I agree. Yeah. I would just be a little concerned because it's a lot of running, and Romero does a lot of running already, but that's asking more of him, and he's not super fast. And given how other teams like to just kick the ball deep into our territory, and everyone's always running backwards to kind of save the day, I'm wondering if will we be missing his aggressiveness on defense if he's in the six? I agree, because he's got a great header, and he can press really well. But I'm wondering who would we replace him with?
Yeah,
do you put Dragishin in for Romero in defense?
I think you would have to, yeah, at that point, because then I think VDV could probably make up for the deficiencies in Dragishin's game with his speed and to be able to, you know what I mean, to be able to react to, you know, times that maybe Dragishin gets beat or, you know, if man gets in behind. Hopefully we would have VDV there to mop up, as Jose would say, the blanket, I think he calls him. But yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. It's there's no real easy answer, and I honestly I don't think Ange is going to change too much before the end of the season. So I think all of this is just slightly wishful thinking on our part. I think come Sunday, I think we'll see a lineup that we're pretty familiar with. My one thing is I think that we'll see what different midfield. I think the midfield will be changed for this match this weekend.
Man,
you can't play Bissouma.
The midfield was such. They were just all so bad. That, you know, watching that game, how many times did we give away the ball? Sarr did it. Højbjerg did it.
Oh my gosh,
Bissouma did it.
Yeah, all like uncontested. You know what I mean? Like bad passes. It was just poor passing and literally giving the ball away. Like
I couldn't believe it.
It wasn't that they were dispossessed or that it was great pressing from the other team. It was just poor play.
It was like having an AYSO soccer team playing up against a professional team. It was really weird with the passes because the passes were just terrible. I mean, there was no strength in the kicks. They were sometimes awesome passes, but just to the other team. And surprising because I know Pape Matar has been awesome for us, but he's not been playing well. Højbjerg, I don't know why we keep playing Højbjerg. He's not going to stay with us after the summer.
Exactly. So he's not involved. He's not invested. I don't think you can stick a player out there that doesn't have anything invested in the match. I mean, it's obviously he wants to put himself in the shop window, play as well as possible, but I think a lot of the results could be overlooked by him just saying, yeah, look, I knew I wasn't going to be there. My head wasn't in the game. Yeah, I don't know. I think playing him is silly. There was a comment a little further down where somebody said, and it was Dragon D's nuts. Big up Dragon. I would replace the non-performing players with kids. And I liked that. And I thought,
honestly, with the under 21s.
Yeah. And that might be the way to go. Especially, oh, sorry. I did it again. Cut you off. You go.
Oh, no, it's fine. The Irish Hotspur was saying, Dave was saying that, because I asked him that question. I was like, why aren't we using more of the under 21s? You know, Will Lancashire is scoring. He's got over 20 goals this season. Alfie Dorrington is really good. Jamie Donnelly, very good. Mikey Moore, fantastic. Why aren't we playing a lot of these players? And he said essentially it was because he thought it was because they still have a season. They have a cup final coming up, I think. They just beat Nottingham Forest. They came back to win 4-3.
Isn't that incredible? They were down 3-0 at halftime. Victory. Yeah, absolutely incredible. So that's a good point. That's a good point. So they're saving kind of them. They actually have something to play for this season. So maybe try to instill something like a winning culture in them, and so they can bring that up with them when they do make the senior team. I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
Yep.
Nice.
And I'm very hopeful for the future.
Same. Oh, same. We've got so many players. That's the thing that scares me, though, is we've lost so many talented youth players because there hasn't been a clear path to the first team. They haven't been getting minutes. So I just really hope that isn't something that continues on. Like Madueke from Chelsea, he used to be one of our players. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He was at Spurs.
Yeah, I know.
And then
why did he leave?
Playing time. He just wasn't getting.
Not getting the minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, and
short-sighted.
I saw in the stats that he had more touches or more dribbles in the first half than our entire team combined. So that's kind of insane, and it shows why we can't let these talented youngins slip through our fingers. I'm hoping, though, with the addition of Longa and these more data-driven it's this more data-driven approach that we're supposedly taking. Hopefully, that'll unearth some more gems, kind of help us to build back up our youth teams because they're a little light and not not as good as they once were because we've lost so many talented youngsters. So hopefully, this helps bring them in.
Yep.
What's your take, real quick? I know I'm jumping all around. Sorry, man, but have you seen much of Bergvall? I haven't watched, but like a 3-minute clip.
I watched. There was an article about Bergvall. I guess he came out and said that ever since he signed for Spurs, he's been a target. So people they're fouling him.
Whoa,
They're making his life a bit difficult.
that's
And overall has made him a target. So I watched some of the games and stuff where he's getting fouled and people are just being more aggressive with him, when they're playing against him,
that's fucking
than they
rude.
were beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. So that's the only time I've seen him. And I watched a highlights reel. The guy is phenomenal. I mean, he's so young, very talented.
What position do you see
I
him
don't
playing? I
know.
honestly can't. I can't tell if he's a 10 or an 8 or a 6. I honestly don't even know.
I want to say he's an 8, but
Yeah,
I can't tell. I think he's an 8 though.
it's kind of a
Um,
it's kind of a hybrid of the other two, so I could see it. Yeah.
yeah, and he's coming in. We'll have him. Do we also get that young defensive, the really big young kid?
Yeah. Hold on, I can
I'm
think of his name. It's pretty
yeah,
Eastern European. It's but
yes,
someone in the chat will be able to help us too. We got him. He was like a 16-year-old when we signed him. And he's coming at the
right.
end of next season, I believe. So I think we have next season to go, and then at the end of that season,
Okay,
he comes to us. And
got it.
if I'm wrong, anybody in the chat can help me there. God, I've missed so many comments, guys. If I've missed anything important, hopefully I can go back and find it.
I have a
Elton,
question actually.
yeah,
Eh,
yeah, for sure, man. What you got?
Oh yes, I said hey to Jose.
Yes. Oh, sweet. Okay, sweet.
Um, I so from because we're talking from an American perspective, so I hear a lot about Levy out, and um, would you say that there perhaps is too much of an emphasis on Levy out rhetoric? Because I know from my perspective, I'll use an American example. So I'm in San Diego, and we used to have a football team called the San Diego Chargers. And the owner of the San Diego Chargers, and who are now the Los Angeles Chargers, is Dean Spanos. And Dean Spanos is a billionaire who he inherited the club, the team, and he's awful. He is an awful owner in every way, from ticket guarantees um, to just his relationship with the city was just downright bad. But never once did I think Spanos out. That's just not something that I have ever said before. He's
Yeah.
detestable, and he demanded that the city put up a certain amount of money for a new stadium, and when they didn't do it, he picked up and moved to Los Angeles and just devastated the city. Now we don't have a football team, but never, even then, I didn't say Spanos out. So I'm curious about when they say Levy out, what are they expecting? Like what? I just don't. I can't force a sale as a fan. I can't force the sale of a football team. To get Dean Spanos out. I guess if I could, I would, but it's not possible. So, what do you think about that as far as the Levy out? Do you think that we concentrate too much on Levy out?
So, like you were saying, as Americans and stuff, this is obviously a huge part of our lives. I mean, I live, eat, and breathe Spurs. Got the Spurs tattoo. I mean, they're on me forever. And it's obviously a huge part of my life. But since we don't live there, and so I think it's a slightly different thing probably for us. I mean, definitely a different thing for us than it would be for like a local or somebody that has grown up in the area and is seeing what's happening. Um, you know, they Spurs have gone. I don't know. It's tough to say. Yes, I do think that it is focused on a little bit too much, probably, in my opinion. But again, that is absolutely just an opinion. I am not any kind of an expert or anything of the of the sort. But sometimes, and I know that everyone's going to say just roll the dice but sometimes the devil that you know is better than the devil you don't. And so even though
Yep.
Levy's not perfect, I fear what might come if he were to go. But I know that fear is not a good reason to not like act. But we would just have to be really careful, who the next owner was. I mean, let me kind of flip this back on you. Would you be okay if we got bought by like one of those like Saudi like consortium, groups that buy and then pump tons of money into a team? I mean, would you be happy about that?
I think that's a short term, like short-sighted. I'm not Levy out. I don't get the
Luka
opportunity
Vuskovic.
to go to
Vuskovic was the name
yeah,
of the
that
guy.
was
Yeah.
it.
Yes. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
I don't, because I'm all the way in North America. I don't have the opportunity to go to the games that I would love to go to at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So ticket prices and whatnot really doesn't affect me. So I don't have an opinion. I heard about them increasing prices on the elderly, which I didn't even know that because here I don't think they
have
even
like
get an
concessions
opportunity to have discount price. Yeah.
Yeah.
For-
Yeah.
It's all through Ticketmaster, and Ticketmaster charges a ton of money, and they're a monopoly. And we have our own issues with Ticketmaster, but it's one price, man. It doesn't matter if you're a child or you're an elderly person, or just an adult. You're gonna pay a premium just because it's a sporting event. So I feel bad that happened, because they're obviously used to that happen, having reduced cost prices. And I understand a lot of people, especially if they're on some sort of social security or Medicare type of thing where they're getting benefits from the government, and as a source of income, and that's it. I understand, but it's a business. I hate to, it sounds cold, but ultimately I feel like this is a business, and Levy's running a business, and he's making business decisions. His business decisions have made the team sustainable in the current financial fair play, and was it those new sustainability rules or whatnot. He's made the team sustainable with this stadium. They're trying to do the hotels. They've got the football. They've got the rugby. They've got the go-karting. They've got the concerts. He's really trying his best to make the team sustainable, and that's, I know, what them and the board are doing. But based on their financial statements, the sad thing is that I feel like in an effort to do all of that, which is commendable, the team itself is getting forgotten. The original purpose of having a club is getting forgotten, and I think they need to do a better job of improving our squad through transfer budget and through how they deal with their fans. Because if you only look at a team as a business opportunity, you're going to lose fans. You need to have a nice balance, and I think that right now maybe the scales have tipped too far towards just cold hard, this is a business, versus we love our squad, kind of like what they do at Wrexham. I think on the other side, when you watch We Are Wrexham or whatnot, they seem to love their fans, and they ingratiate themselves to the fans.
Right. And that's how,
and
if
anything, it seems less
used to
business-like.
be. Yeah, and I think Spurs used to
Yeah.
be a lot more like that. It was a family-oriented thing that it's a part of your town. It's a part of It's a part of your area where you live. It's a cultural. I mean, I don't know. It's just so different, really, than sports in the U.S. And so I think that's people feel this disconnect from their team that they didn't feel in the past. They don't feel like they're part of it anymore. You're right. It does feel more like a business, I think, to them than it used to. And I think that people are unhappy about that. I just real quick wanted to address this comment. Scott says Newcastle has sold to better owners. Debatable. I mean, I know what you mean about better, like owners that are willing to pay money and get people in. United are being sold to better owners. Wasn't that just a minority of United being sold? Anyway, I'll check that out.
It is. Ineos is a minority.
Yeah, and then
25%.
Yeah, so and then Chelsea sold to better owners. Was that when they sold to Roman Abramovich, or was that when they sold to Todd Bowley? I don't know if either of those are better than each other. So yeah, I wouldn't be happy if we got a Roman Abramovich at Spurs. I'd be quite unhappy. But that's just me. Jazz Fusion says that Levy couldn't run an NFL team in his hometown. They would burn down his luxury box with him in it. Snap. Jazz Fusion.
I think
Oh, sorry. Jazz Fusion's agreeing with you, but he says don't say it too loudly, though. I love it.
Yeah. I don't know. Levy, again, when it comes to business, as long as he's building something that's sustainable, he has to deal with ticket prices, doesn't he? Which I don't think the NFL teams have to deal with. Ticketmaster, I think, deals with all of the tickets.
So real quick, I just wanted to show too. Scott's saying Chelsea won the most out of any Premier League club under Roman. They were also using actual legitimate blood money that Roman Abramovich made by bankrupting at least one, if not more than one, entire town in Russia, taking the livelihood away from thousands of people. So I don't give a shit about the most Premier League trophies or whatever. Fuck Roman Abramovich. Sorry for my language, but God, I hate that guy. Actual legitimate tyrant who I think is... he was chased out of England. He's not even allowed to step foot in the country. So, have I read about ENIC in Argentina? A bit. Maybe I should get myself a little more up to speed. But Roman Abramovich is an absolute turd of a human being. And if Joe Louis is that bad, I will come back and let you know. But I still... Yeah, let me do some reading. I don't want to sound ignorant, but you can't disagree. Roman Abramovich, absolute scum of the earth. But anyway, there will be
Joe Louis, obviously.
Any billionaire. Yeah.
There will. There's going to be problems. They don't become billionaires because they were benevolent.
People.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Scott. Yes, god awful human. Absolutely. Hate him. So real quick, Jishnu is in the house. Big up Jishnu, saying it's not about the owner, it's about the project. Chelsea, Man U spent almost $1 billion, still there fighting for top 10. That's a good point. And then Scott says, but this isn't the Nobel Prize trophy we are competing for. No, but I think that there could probably be like a middle ground. Like you don't have to be owned by a Bond villain. But you can also get things accomplished and win things for your team. I mean, Spurs would probably have a trophy right now had we not sacked the manager that got us there. Right before the final match. Sacking Mourinho. I don't know. It's all if buts and monkey nuts, as Jose says. I'm stealing a lot of his verbiage today, but yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, Levy out, Levy in. I think that we can agree there are worse owners out there. What was the name of the dude that owned Newcastle before they were sold? Mike Ashley, I think.
Oh, I know. Something like that. He was terrible.
Total piece of shit. So I mean, it definitely could be worse too. We have to think about that. I don't know. This is a very, very tough one. Chris Peters says, and big up Chris, by the way, says Potts should have been backed when he wanted to rebuild. That's Levy. Yeah.
And instead he had, remember, there were transfers windows where he had no budget and got nobody. Yeah. And that's not sustainable. I remember thinking that the first time when they said, we were like, well, what's the transfer budget going to be? And then Poch got zip and he had to have nobody and got nobody. Yeah. That's not sustainable. I think that was very naive of Levy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And he thought, we had Potts has been doing okay with young players. I think Levy just thought he could continue to do that, but it just didn't work. Sahil is saying, where is Jose? Jose is presumably at his home in England. We're doing the Yank show today, the American show, Sahil. But yeah, big up, and I will let Jose's probably watching, so he knows you're asking about him. 500 plus days, a world football record for signing nobody. Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
And then Chris is saying this is why we have no squad. And I also wanted to just throw out there to everybody, we got about a half hour late start because of some technical difficulties, and I have to leave in like 10 minutes max. So before we end today, and this has been kind of a all over the place show, we're going to start doing these regularly. They'll get to be a lot more polished. But yeah, so you were talking about real quick how we would line up against, or how you would like to line up against
Liverpool.
against Liverpool. So what would your front three look like?
My front three would be Son on the left, Richie in the middle, and Porro on the right.
Interesting stuff. And then your midfield. You said already
Bentancur, Kulu, Lo Celso, and Bentancur. I think that Bentancur did okay. He wasn't giving the ball away. Sarr was giving the ball away a lot, not just once or twice, and he just wasn't that good. I wouldn't play Højbjerg because the guy's going to be gone. Lo Celso may be gone, but from what I read, that it was looking like potentially he may get a new contract.
Wait, Lo Celso? Yeah, I had seen that. I had seen that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I would play Lo Celso because he's the only other creative player we have. Let's be honest. I don't know another creative player that we have. Skip is not creative. I wouldn't play Skip. I think Skip needs to be sold. He's pure profit. So let's just sell him.
That's true. Yeah. No, we didn't pay a dime for him. That's a good point.
No. And Kulu, I think, is better in the middle than he is on the wing.
Much better. Much better.
And
he
then
can use that ball retention, the ball retention ability he's got, put that to much better use, I feel like, in the middle, where he's not slowing play down quite so much. When he would get the ball on the wing, he would just kill our attacks with, just slowing them down to the point of stopping them, So.
Yeah. And then I would have in the back, I would have Romero, VDV in the middle, and then I would put Dragoshin on the right and Emerson on the left.
Nice. Interesting stuff. I would have a similar lineup. Well, actually, mine might be way different than yours. I would put VDV on the left. Then I'd have a center back pairing of Romero and Dragoshin. On the right, I would have Porro. And then up front.
Okay.
And then in the midfield, though, I would have I'd play Madison, Bentancur, and probably Lo Celso. Two creative players, and then I think Bentancur could probably, we're going to task him with a lot of holding in the midfield there, but let's do that. And then up front, I want Brennan Johnson, Richie, and Son to start. So one of us is gonna get some of what we want, but we'll see. We'll see which one of us is closer to the lineup when the match comes. Real quick,
I think Ange is pretty. Go ahead.
No. You go. My bad. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I got a feeling we know what we're gonna see. We'll probably see what Ange has always done because Ange is very stubborn. And I don't think he's not willing to make big sweeping changes. I don't think he hasn't struck me as that kind of manager that's willing to really change things up just for shits and giggles. You know what I mean? I don't think he's that kind of coach.
Yeah.
So I got a feeling
agree.
we will see. Yeah, we probably won't see Porro up front. We'll probably see him in the back.
Probably won't see Emerson.
But go ahead. You were gonna.
Oh, I was just going to say, so I was just kind of closing out a little bit, and I was saying, to everybody that has joined us today, thank you so much. If I have missed anyone, I'm going back through now. I think I said hey to everybody, but if I've missed anyone, I am so sorry. Like I said, we got a really late start due to some technical difficulties on my end, I think, and so it's just been kind of a scramble today. These will get more polished; they will be better. But thank you, everybody for jumping in and your comments. we couldn't do the show without you guys. So I just wanted to say thanks to everybody for tuning in.
Thank you.
Yes, everybody has been awesome. And like I was saying before, we're going to try to do this weekly, right? Is that cool with you?
Yeah,
Alan, weekly thing. We're gonna get some more. We're gonna get some more of our American boys in on this with us. It's gonna be a good, fun time. Scott is saying, "Big up, Colin and Alan. Big up, Scott. Appreciate you, man. I love Scott because even though we have such different opinions on things, we always get along. We always keep it civil. Big up, Scott." And then, does Alan have a YouTube site? Yes, he sure does. It is in the banner down there, but I'm gonna put it in the comments here. YouTube. Oh, look. You got it. Yeah, Team Tottenham Go is the name of his channel. And everybody, if you have not yet, please go over and make sure that you subscribe to Team Tottenham Go. I'm going to put it, I think to get a clickable link, I got to do this. Boom.
Got to have Colin skills to do that.
Yeah. So everybody, you should be able to click right on there, and it should take you right to Alan's page. Make sure you subscribe. I'm gonna leave that up for just a moment while we give everyone a chance to click and get over there. Yes, Scott. Thank you. Scott's got it in the chat. Scott, the mod extraordinaire. Thank you, Scott. We appreciate you, brother. But yeah, everybody, please, like I said, I'm going to leave that up for a moment so everyone who's here has a chance to run over there, clickety-clack that subscribe button. Chris said he's already subscribed. What a good man. Dragon These Nuts says, done.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, and then Jazz is saying that Matters should be dropped. We saw it last game. Maybe we'll see it again. Who knows?
I agree.
Who knows? Yeah.
Totally agree.
I like that Ange had the balls to do that too, by the way. I thought that was really cool. Okay, but guys, I have to travel to go visit some family. Oh, Sahil subscribed too. This is wonderful stuff.
Thank you.
This is wonderful stuff. Yes, we're going to make sure that we get those subscriptions up for you, man. Again, guys, there is the link. Please make sure that you have subbed over. But yeah, is there anything? Spurs GCTV subscribe. Dude, this is great stuff. Thank you guys all so much for showing the love.
Thank you, guys.
We appreciate you really big time. Dude, we're going to get you up there, man. We're climbing. But yes, so before my wife kills me, better run. But any final words? Anything you want to leave everybody with, Alan?
I hope we play a good game on Sunday. I would hate to have another loss. It would be crushing. But come on, you Spurs. I think we can do it. I think we can beat this is not a full strength Liverpool team.
True that.
VVD is not playing. Virgil van Dijk is out. I believe he's injured. There's discontent between Salah and Klopp. And I'm hoping that this weakened Liverpool team is a little bit easier for us and we can repeat what we did last time without the controversy.
Absolutely. I'm even fine with some controversy. Give it to I like some controversy. It's okay. But yes, everybody, the match tomorrow. I'm not sure if there's going to be a watch along yet. We've mentioned it, but not finalized it. So watch this space or LTL Cockerel, both channels to see if anything about a watch along. And Alan, I was going to see if perhaps you might be available tomorrow for a pre-match talk.
Yeah, sure.
Sweet. We'll get that planned. So everybody watch this space. Tomorrow we'll be dual streaming from both Alan and I's channels, just to get his channel out there as much as possible to get as many people over as we can. So everybody watch this space. Make sure that you've clicked the notification bell and you will know then what time we are going on tomorrow. But all right, guys, I just want to always say, like I always do, for one, in Ange we trust. Come on, you Spurs. And be good to yourself and be good to those around you. That's the most important part. But yeah, Alan, thanks again for joining me, dude. And thanks again to everybody in the chat. We really appreciate everyone. And happy birthday, Sean.
Happy birthday.
Yes. Scott says that he'll be golfing.
And happy anniversary.
Yes. And there's an anniversary in the house too for Jazz. What a good day for everybody. So Scott's golfing during the game, so he's going to need a watch along so he can follow. We can probably make that happen for you, Scott. And then Chris Peters says big up to Chris. Chris Peters has been a channel supporter since it was possible. Thanks, man. We appreciate you, Chris. And with that, guys, I think we are going to love you and leave you. I'll play us out with the James Madison song that we always do because it's fun. So let me get that going. But everybody, thanks again and have a wonderful day.
My team has got James Madison. James Madison is what we need. Whoa, thank God we got James Madison. This kid plays ball like you would never believe.